Just as I stated in yesterday's article, the archaic and out-of-touch Parliament are doing all they can to present the UK riots as some kind of spontaneous criminality with no root cause. During Parliament's session today, attention has been shifted away from austerity measures, inequality and dubious police actions, and refocused on furthering the Big Brother state of which Britain is renowned. One MP, whose name escapes me, even had the ignorant gall to claim anybody who looks at the wider social issues are apologists for the barbaric violence. The state refuses to concede that its policies across the board, its failed economic system and subsequent class divisions are in any way to blame. Instead, the state's response is to increase its power. Shutting down of communication networks, electronic tracking and more CCTV have all been widely acknowledged as solutions by politicians on all sides of the spectrum. Britain is racing further into a fascist state, and with the bulk of cuts still to come, this once titanic nation is headed straight for the iceberg. This is what silver spoon-fed David Cameron had to say to the House today.
Mr. Speaker, everyone watching these horrific actions will be struck by how they were organised via social media. Free flow of information can be used for good, but it can also be used for ill. So we are working with the police, the intelligence services and industry to look at whether it would be right to stop people communicating via these websites and services when we know they are plotting violence, disorder and criminality.
Benjamin Franklin once said, "They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." In other words, those who allow the government to take away their freedoms in order to protect them, be it from terrorists or rioters, end up with no freedom and no safety at all. It is the state who then becomes the aggressor and the infringer on freedom. You cannot have the free flow of information if the government regulates or snoops on it, because the parameters are then defined by the government. You are free to say what we tell you. You are free to communicate when we allow you. If we had a moral government that didn't enslave us to debt at the behest of bankers, that didn't invade foreign countries at the behest of corporations and elite ideologues, and whom was capable of in-depth rational discussion about the social issues that plague the country, then there may be an element of trust in such proposals. But our politicians have proven time and time again that they are liars and murderers. When Cameron says to stop people communicating via these websites and services when we know they are plotting violence, disorder and criminality, what he actually means are people they think or people they want to accuse of plotting violence, disorder and criminality. Cast your mind back to the royal wedding. Was social network tracking and police actions really targeted at those planning violence, disorder and criminality? No. What took place was an outrageous abuse of power, where people with legitimate political messages and fact-based grievances with the royals were arrested before crimes had even been committed, snatched and grabbed by plainclothes police officers while singing and dancing, bundled into police vans for dressing up as zombies, and harassed for their personal details for the devastating crime of congregating or having anti-royal leaflets and opinions. This week's ill-informed rioters have given the state exactly what they needed, an excuse to clamp down on free speech, communication and real political opposition before the proverbial shit hits the fan. Things are going to get worse in this country. The austerity measures are not even in full swing. Cuts to healthcare, cuts to education, a lot more cuts to policing, and cuts to the numerous social services. Those are not ingredients for a recovering society. It's the downfall of society. Poor, uneducated people on rationed healthcare are only going to become more violent. And with less police to control the situation than there is now, expect the army and citizen spy forces to be wheeled out. Report an anarchist today. Of course, anyone opposed to the state will be labelled an anarchist. And if you think the wider economy is recovering, think again. Stock markets around the world have suffered deeply from the debt crisis in the Eurozone because of the refusal to give up the Euro superstate dream. The United States debt ceiling fiasco has lifted the veil on the instability of the supposed richest nation on earth. And the UK's national debt is increasing exponentially. The official government figure is 1.1 trillion by 2011. The real figure is 4.8 trillion. It's only going to go up, and cuts are only prolonging the complete collapse. It was iPods and TVs this time. What happens when it's food? When you take a loaf of bread, will that be pure criminality, with no root cause? Will it be dismissed because it's not political? If people weren't so dumbed down by the state-owned and corporate monopoly media, maybe there would be more politically directed action. And before we go, some breaking news. If you were involved in the rioting, expect to be evicted from your home. Because of course, hordes of homeless youths is what is needed right now.